Tired talking. It's up all you right now, man. What have you been playing?
Oh man. Okay, so I got a review copy of I don't even know why. Tour de France 2018.
Okay.
Oh, there it is in all its glory. Yeah. Uh so we were talking earlier before the show and you were saying that it actually looked interesting. Yeah, kind of. It did it to me at the beginning as well. These kind of things looked interesting to me, where you had all these players on the screen, and you could do all this. Well, I mean, I thought you could, do all the stuff that I thought you could do, but you can't. So my initial thought was, okay, this is going to be a cool, like, little racing game, kind of like Cars, but with a bike. And you just kind of do your thing. You see some pretty cool countrysides and sort of race and whatever. So that is kind of what it is. The only issue that I found with this game was that you literally can't do anything but that. So, like, you can't crash into people, you can't crash into anything else, you can't fall off your bike, you
Hmm.
can't hit a barrier, you can't hit a car, you can't do anything.
You
So when
just
you
kind of.
start off, you just bounce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you'll probably see something when these guys get a little bit closer together. So there, you'll see him like cut in,
Yeah.
and he just kind of bounces off. And I'm thinking, well, that's not very good because you can just kind of at the beginning you just kind of mash the button and just like plow through a whole bunch of people, which is completely unrealistic, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and then basically a like a resource management sim. So you've got like you have to manage your speed and your stamina and all that kind of stuff and sort of use it at the right time. And that is just not the game for me.
Huh. I don't like. I thinking about this sort of like. How long does a race last in this game?
So that's another thing. The longest one I think is 45 minutes.
Whew.
So
Oh, man.
and so you can fast forward a little bit through it. So you could actually, well, you could fast forward the whole thing really, but then what's the point of playing? But you can sort of pick a start point and then an end point and sort of fast forward through those points to that last point.
Okay.
But again, you're just kind of fast forwarding the game. So what's the point?
Hmm.
But yeah, 45 minutes I think is the longest race. And so it's literally just 45 minutes of you sitting there, mashing the button, trying to get ahead of people, bouncing off things. Yeah.
Yeah, on one hand, like, yes, in absolute terms, that is a really long time to play one race. On the other hand, it's the Tour de France, and those races also tend to last a long time. So,
Oh
like,
yeah.
I get
Totally.
that. And the whole management of resources stuff, like, I would think that if you were sitting there just, like, holding, quote unquote, the gas and steering left and right, that would be really boring within the context of this style of game.
That's true. Yeah. I
So
would agree with you.
I think the idea of it being more of a management sim of like triggering when you go fast, when you go slow, that sounds interesting to me. But I don't know if the implementation of those mechanics isn't that great, then like I can see how you wouldn't enjoy it. Or also
Well,
like, sorry,
go
continue.
ahead. No, no, go ahead.
Or just like that is not going to appeal to everyone. That's particular style of game.
I think what got me though was not so much the resource management part of it, but just the fact that it's unrealistic in that you can't like you so if you were in the real Tour de France, you'd have to kind of watch where you're going,
Okay.
right? But this one, you literally don't even have to watch where you're going. You just bounce off whatever you hit and just keep going, right? Um, and I mean, I guess if you're really in the Tour de France, it is a resource management sim. You're always trying to keep your energy up and whatnot. And you can eat energy bars and drink energy drinks and do all these things in the game to sort of, keep you going or whatever. But I guess it's kind of just that I don't really know what I expected
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, it's exactly what it is, right? It's a simulation of the Tour de France.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe if it was just a bit more realistic, I think I would have got into it a bit more.
Okay. I mean, I'm not trying to be a Tour de France apologist. I've never played this game. But it does pose an interesting design challenge, the whole, like, bouncing off stuff. I think, in particular, the idea that there's, like, dozens of racers at the very beginning of the game. Like,
Oh,
understanding, like, generally how video game racing goes, people are bumping into each other all the time. And so, if you were to make this realistic within the context of this game world, I think people would just like be falling over each other nonstop. I
yeah, I can
there's
see that. Yeah.
I can understand why they made the choice that they did, Though, yes, it does have the ramifications of it also taking the immersion out of it in other ways.
Yeah. Yeah, not a bad game, just not really the game for me.
Yeah, fair enough. And
Yeah.
so when you say there are power-ups in the game, like exactly what are we talking about here?
Oh, it's just, I mean, it's sort of like stamina refreshers, so like energy drinks and power bars and things like that.
Is there any sort of leveling up that can be done in between races?
So there's a bit of customization as well. So you
Okay.
can, so there's all kinds of, I mean, names in here, and I would assume that if I followed the Tour de France, I might recognize some of these people, but
Okay.
I don't, unfortunately. Same thing with brands. You can, dress your guy however you want. You can pick all these different jerseys and you can unlock them and stuff like that. You can, change your colors and whatnot. So I mean, there is a certain level of customization, but yeah, like I said, if I followed it a bit more, it might have had more of an allure to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really recognize any of the brands. I didn't recognize any of the people. The more I think of it, maybe I wasn't the right guy to review this game. But yeah.
What I really want to know is there doping in this game?
No, not that I know of.
Is it like...
although I don't know what's in the power bars.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. And also, is it like the wrestling games where they don't have Hulk Hogan in it, but they give you all the moves and all the clothing so that you can make Lance Armstrong in it?
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Just
You
the
could.
DLC is like the yellow rubber wristbands
That's right, yeah.
that say "Strong Live" or something.
Life Strong.
Life Strong.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's Tour de France.
Yeah, I don't know. I know at the beginning of the show I told you to try and talk me out of this. I still kind of love the idea of
Hey man,
a
try it.
hardcore sim. Is it
Yeah.
on a console or is this PC only?
Oh, this is PS4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How much are we talking here?
Oh, I don't even know. I think it's a full price game.
Oof.
I think as of this writing, it was a full price game.
Okay.
You know what? I don't want to say that because I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I think it's full price
Okay.
or somewhere up there. Yeah.
So you reviewed this as like you got this from Biff Fan Pop?
Yeah.
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 What is this the weirdest game you've gotten for review?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
In terms of just games that I never thought I would be reviewing, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So going back to the price thing, I'm looking at the PlayStation Store right now. The game is $66.99.
Yeah.
So yeah, almost full price.
Yeah.
That's probably way too much more than I would want to spend, but yeah, I would investigate further.
I think if it was like $29 or something in that range, I don't know.
Yeah. Or even like if you strip it back even more and make it like strictly a sim where like I'm not even driving per se. I'm just like I'm thinking like I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Quest lately,
Yeah.
which is basically Pokemon management sim where
Okay.
you can autoplay it where you're not even controlling the Pokemon at all. But when you do control the Pokemon, you don't control where they walk, you just control when they trigger their special attacks.
Okay.
And there's other management stuff you can do in the background that I find really interesting. But like when the actual race is on, or when the actual fighting is happening, I just kind of like let it run, and that's good enough for me. I wonder if there's like the appeal of making this more of that kind of sim. Like,
well, there's actually a companion app which I didn't actually get into, but it's exactly that. It's the Tour de France Manager version. I don't actually know what the name of it is, but it's like the racing manager. So it's this, but it's like playing Madden or something, but playing the GM mode.
GM mode,
Yeah.
exactly. I love the idea of Tour de France GM mode as a game.
Hey, then try the other one.
Okay.
Who knows?
But yeah, talking about Tour de France and Biff Van Pop and like the weird this being the weirdest game you reviewed. When I was working for Splitkick, I don't know if a lot of people have worked for a publication where you've had to review games, but like I think when I got into like writing for video games, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to like play all the games that I really love and write about them. But when you're working for someone else and they give you the games, you don't necessarily get, I mean, I'm not going to say necessarily get the best stuff but you will get stuff that you did not expect you'd play in your lifetime.
That's true. And you know what? That's good and bad because it kind of, sometimes you get something where you go, this, I don't even know what this is, but then you like it and it's something you'd never have even thought of buying or thought of trying before and you end up liking it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's, Tour de France.
I remember when I first started working with Splitkick and they sent me this game called Bloodforge, which is essentially like God of War except in like Irish folklore, I think Irish or Scottish, one of those two. And it was just like this horrible ripoff of God of War. And I was like, I played it for 5 minutes and I was like, I don't want to play this anymore, but I'm on the hook to review this, so I have to beat this. And it really puts gaming in a different perspective when it's your job and you have to play stuff you don't want to play.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah. So it becomes a lot less glamorous when you're not playing the games you want to play. What else have you been playing, man?
Let's see.